What if I told you that the pain you feel every day, that tension that has lived in your neck for years, that exhaustion that no amount of coffee can fix, no weekend can cure, and no medicine can explain, is not your body betraying you? What if it has been trying to speak to you this whole time and you simply never learned how to listen? No one ever truly explained this to you. They told you that pain is a defect, that a symptom is a breakdown, and that fatigue is weakness. And so, you spent your life fighting your own body, believing it was the enemy. But Dr. Arthur Sterling spent more than 40 years looking into the human soul, and what he discovered will forever change the way you view every discomfort you feel right now, at this very second as you listen to me. Because your body is not failing. It is screaming a truth that your mind has refused to hear. And if you stay with me until the end, I will teach you exactly how to have that conversation. The conversation your body has been waiting for its entire life. It all started with an observation that Sterling made in his clinics in Vermont at the beginning of the last century. He noticed something strange. Patients with the same physical pain almost always brought the same hidden emotional wound behind it. People with chronic stomach problems carried, without exception, something they couldn't digest in their lives. Those with spinal rigidity were living their lives holding on to responsibilities that weren't theirs. Those who lost their voice were those who had been silenced their entire lives, and that wasn't a coincidence, it was a pattern. That was when he formulated one of the most unsettling ideas in modern psychology. Everything that is not brought to consciousness returns as destiny. Everything we swallow, everything we pretend doesn't hurt, everything we decide not to feel. The body keeps it, the body archives it, the body waits. And when the mind can no longer manage to hold it, the body screams for it. Sterling's great conclusion was this: the body remembers everything the mind tries to forget. Think with me for a second. Where did that massive fear go that you felt at 7 years old when your father yelled and you weren't allowed to cry? Where did that sadness go that you swallowed when you lost someone and had to be strong for everyone else? Where did that anger go that you could never express because you were taught that good people don't feel anger? Where did that truth go that you wanted to speak but got stuck in your throat? Sterling had an unsettling answer for that. None of it evaporated, none of it vanished. All of it went somewhere inside of you. And that place is your body. Every swallowed emotion becomes tension. Every blocked word becomes a knot. Every repressed tear becomes inflammation. Every boundary you didn't know how to set becomes a weight on your shoulders, your back, your stomach, your chest. The price of silence is incredibly high because the body carries it for years, for decades, and one day it collects the debt. And when it collects, we call it a disease. But Sterling would say it's something else. It's a message that couldn't be said any other way. This is where Sterling took the boldest leap of his career. He thought, if negative, repressed emotions can affect the body so much that they make it sick, then the opposite must also be true. Conscious love, directed toward the body, must also have the power to transform it. And he began to do something that at the time seemed like madness for a scientist of his stature. He began to talk to his own organs. He spoke to his liver when it hurt. He apologized to his lungs when he breathed poorly. He thanked his heart every night before going to sleep. He treated the body as a living, conscious entity that was there by his side, trying to help. And something began to happen. Not overnight, not like a miracle, but like a slow reconciliation between him and the house he inhabited. That was where a new way of understanding healing was born. Not as a war against the body, but as a dialogue with it. And how is this done in practice? It's simpler than you imagine and harder than it seems. You place your hand on the area that is hurting. It could be your chest, your stomach, the back of your neck, or your knee. Wherever you feel the symptom, that is where you touch. And you speak to that part, out loud if you can, mentally if you can't yet. Very simple, almost childlike phrases, but they tear through you when you say them truthfully. I see you. I hear you. Thank you for protecting me all this time. I'm sorry for ignoring you for so many years. It sounds silly, but try it. Try it once with a real pain, with your actual hand over it, with no one watching, and tell me later what happens. Because the goal here isn't magic. The goal is to restore a connection that was severed. The connection between you and the body that has carried you your whole life without ever asking for anything in return. Sterling observed very specific patterns over the years. These aren't absolute laws. They are clues, maps, suggestions for you to begin investigating within yourself. The liver usually stores anger, old anger, unresolved resentment, that urge to explode that you could never let out. The lungs store sadness, especially the sadness of grief, losses that were never fully cried out, goodbyes that were left half-finished. The muscles, when they live in tension, store fear, hypervigilance, the constant feeling that something bad is about to happen. The back, especially the lower lumbar region, stores the feeling of carrying the world alone, a lack of support, responsibilities that weren't yours, but you took on anyway. The stomach and digestive system store what you couldn't digest in life, situations, words, betrayals, losses that stayed stuck inside you. The throat stores everything you couldn't say, swallowed truths, the no's that became yeses out of fear. And this is the most important thing I can tell you right now. Every one of your symptoms may contain an entire emotional story, a story waiting to be heard. Before I continue, I need to tell you something. Because if you've made it this far, I know what's happening inside you right now. You are recognizing things. You are looking at your back pain, your exhaustion, that tightness in your chest, and you're realizing that yes, there is something underneath. There is a story you've never told anyone, not even yourself. And this is where most people stop. They recognize it and go back to the same life. They recognize it and pretend they didn't see it. They recognize it, and the body keeps screaming year after year until it collects a debt that no one wants to pay. Sterling had a name for this. He called it the shadow, everything inside you that you refuse to look at, and which, for that very reason, controls your life without you noticing. Your shadow is driving your life right now, and you call it bad luck, a rough patch, misfortune. It always happens to me. It's not luck. It's the part of you that you never wanted to meet. Another year pretending it doesn't exist, and it will break you for good. That's not a threat, it's just how it works. Sterling began a monumental work on this, the keys to integrating the shadow, making peace with what is buried, and becoming the master of your own life again. But he passed away before finishing it. Others took up this work, stitched it together, completed it, and systematized it. And today there is a material called the Awakening Code. It consists of the 28 keys that Sterling didn't finish in his lifetime. Read it before it hurts more. The link is down below in the description. Now let's continue, because what comes next is the part that changes everything. Why does touching the area that hurts make a difference? There is an explanation from neuroscience that confirms exactly what Sterling intuited a century ago. Touch activates the vagus nerve. It sends a signal to the nervous system that you are safe, that someone is there, that that piece of you is no longer alone carrying what it carries, and that is exactly what the body needs to feel, that it has finally been heard, that someone finally placed their hand there and said, I am here, I see, I recognize. Think about how many times you have comforted someone in your life, how many times you've hugged a crying child, held the hand of someone sick, or caressed someone who was suffering. And now think, how many times have you done that for yourself? Most people have never touched their own body with tenderness, only with judgment, only with criticism, only with a hurry for that pain to just go away. And the body feels the difference. The body knows when it is being cared for and when it is merely being tolerated. Here we come to one of the deepest and most disturbing ideas in all of Sterling's work. The heaviest burden a child carries is the unlived life of their parents. Stop everything you're doing and reread that sentence slowly. The heaviest burden a child carries is the unlived life of their parents. That which your parents could not live, that which they dreamed of and did not achieve, that which they felt and could not express, that did not die with them. It was placed in the lap of those who came after, and you inherited it, without signing anything, without being warned. You inherited your mother's anxieties, your father's fears, your grandparents' sorrows, the wars your lineage lived through and never wept for. Sterling said the body is a generational archive. There are things inside you that come from long before you were born. And look at this interesting thing. Many people spend their whole lives trying to understand a pain they can't track in their own history. They can't because the pain didn't start there. It started 3 generations ago, and it is waiting for you to finally listen to it and set it free. Sterling developed a fascinating technique for dealing with these old pains, with these symptoms that seem to have no rational explanation. He called it active imagination. It works like this. You close your eyes, focus on the pain, the symptom, the discomfort, and you ask it seriously. If you were a person, what would you be like? What face would you have? How old would you be? What do you want to tell me? It seems strange, but your imagination isn't making things up out of nowhere. It is giving form to something that was already there, waiting to be seen. Some people see their own pain as a crying child. Some see it as a tired old woman. Some see it as an armed soldier, always on high alert. And when you can see it, you can talk to it. And when you talk, something changes. Because for the first time in your life, that part of you is no longer being ignored. The pain stops being a silent enemy and becomes a conversation. This next practice is perhaps the most uncomfortable of all, and also the most transformative. You go to the mirror, but not the mirror you use to get ready in the morning. The mirror where you truly look at yourself, and you look into your own eyes, without looking away. Try to do this for 30 seconds without averting your gaze. You will notice something. It is almost unbearable, because there in that gaze lives everything you have avoided for years. Self-criticism. The I am not enough. The I don't deserve this. The disappointments with yourself. The broken promises to yourself. And then, holding that gaze, you say, I love you, I accept you exactly as you are right now. The first time you do this, you might cry. Not because the phrase is beautiful, but because for many people, it's the first time they've heard it, from anyone, and especially from themselves. Let's take a quick trip through your body. Think of each part as I speak. Feel where it is most tense, most painful, most tired. Knees usually store resistance to movement, fear of moving forward, difficulty in bowing when life asks you to bow. Eyes, when they start to fail, might be saying there is something in your life you are refusing to see, some truth that is right in front of you, and you prefer not to perceive. The back, as we've said, is weight. But what weight specifically? Whose life are you carrying? Whose responsibility became yours? The digestive system asks you, what about your life can you not digest? What situation has been stuck inside you for too long? The neck and shoulders reveal how much rigidity you demand of yourself, how much perfection you charge, how much control you need to have to feel safe. Once again, this is not a rule, not a diagnosis. It's a clue, an invitation to investigate, so that you begin to look at your body not as a broken machine, but as a book waiting to be read. Sterling was very clear about one thing. You cannot heal fully while carrying resentment, and forgiving is not saying that what happened was right. It's not letting the other person off the hook. It's not even for the other person, actually. Forgiving is taking the weight off of yourself. It is returning to the other person what belongs to them, the guilt, the pain, the story, and stopping carrying it for them. The exercise is simple. You take a piece of paper, write the person's name, it could be a father, mother, ex-boss, friend, or yourself, and you say out loud, I release you, I will no longer carry this. I return to the universe what is not mine to carry, and I release myself as well. You can tear the paper afterward, you can burn it, you can bury it. Ritual helps, because the body understands rituals. The body needs gestures to believe that something is truly being closed. Sterling had a daily practice for this, something he did every night before bed. He would revisit the day mentally, every discomfort, every irritation, every small annoyance, and he would release it right then, at that hour, before closing his eyes. He didn't let it accumulate. He didn't let today's resentment become the chronic pain of 3 years from now. Because that is what happens when we don't do this cleaning. Small hurts become a broth. The broth becomes weight. The weight becomes a symptom. And when you realize it, you have 10 years of undigested things installed in your body. 5 minutes before bed is all it takes. Review, release, thank, sleep. This next one is perhaps the most emotional exercise of this entire approach. Look for a childhood photo of yourself, one where you are about 7 or 8 years old. Look at that child. They don't know anything yet about what they will live through. They don't know about the disappointments. They don't know about the betrayals. They don't know about the times they will need to pretend they are fine when they aren't. They don't know they will learn to keep quiet to be loved. Now talk to them, not with your mind but with your heart. I've come back to find you. You are no longer alone. I know everything you went through, and I promise that from now on, I will protect you. I love you. I hear you. I will never abandon you again. Many people never receive this from anyone, and they have been waiting 40, 50 years to hear it. You can be the first person to say it to yourself, and that changes everything. Sterling discovered that words spoken with feeling in the present tense create resonance in the body. Empty phrases don't work. Repeating mechanically without feeling anything doesn't work. It works when you say, with your hand on your chest, with eyes closed, with calm breathing, I love and approve of myself exactly as I am now. My body knows how to heal itself. I trust it. I accept life with lightness. I digest what comes. I deserve to breathe deeply. I deserve to take up space. I deserve to live fully. Feel the words. Don't just recite them. Feel them. Because the body doesn't respond to the voice. The body responds to the truth behind the voice. If you want a complete daily practice that brings together everything we've talked about here, this is it. 20 minutes a day. That's what Sterling suggested. 3 minutes of gratitude. You thank your body for being there, for breathing, for beating, for sustaining you without asking for anything. 5 minutes of body dialogue. You choose the area that hurts most today. Place your hand there and talk, ask, listen. 5 minutes of mirror work, eye to eye, the affirmations, the self-acceptance. 5 minutes of forgiveness, releasing what stayed from the day, releasing what stayed from before, letting go. 2 minutes of visualization, imagining yourself healed, whole, alive, light. 20 minutes every morning or every night, for 90 days, and you are no longer the same person. Everything Sterling wanted to teach with this is a paradigm shift. Your body is not your enemy, it never was. It is not a defective machine that needs to be fixed. It is not a weight you need to carry until you die. It is not a place where you are forced to live. It is your most faithful, oldest, most devoted ally, the one who has been with you in every breath since the second you were born, the one who has carried you every day of your life without ever asking for anything in return, except to be looked at once in a while. Healing is not defeating the body. It is not dominating the body. It is not silencing the body. Healing is coming home. I'm going to leave you with a truth, and I want you to listen to this truth with an open heart, without defending yourself, without rationalizing. Every pain you feel is an invitation. Every symptom that repeats is a conversation that hasn't happened yet. Every discomfort that persists is an opportunity for you to know yourself more deeply. Your body was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to save you from a truth you had been avoiding hearing for too long. Stop, breathe, read it again. Your body was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to save you. Before you go, do one thing with me. Place your right hand over your chest, over your heart. Feel it beating, feel it. That beat has been there for decades without stopping, keeping you alive, even on the days you forgot to say thank you. And now say, mentally or out loud, thank you, I hear you. From today on, I will ignore you no more. If this message moved you, leave a comment below writing, today I decide to listen to my body. I read every single one. And remember, healing doesn't start on the day the pain stops. Healing starts the moment you stop asking how to silence the pain and start asking what it came to teach you.